Treasure Island, Episode 4, The Voyage, Part 1, The Voyage Begins. All night we were very busy getting the ship ready to sail. The sun was just coming up when everyone moved to their places, ready to leave the docks. "Sing us a song," shouted one of the crew to Long John. "The old one," cried another sailor. And Long John Silver, who was standing nearby, started to sing the song I knew so well. 15 men on the dead man's chest, and then the whole crew sang, "Yo-ho-ho," and a bottle of rum. And at the last word, the sailors pushed the capstan bars hard. It was an exciting moment, and the song carried me back to the Admiral Benbow in a second, and I seemed to hear the old captain singing too. But soon the anchor was up and hanging at the bows. The sails started to fill with wind, and before I could lie down for an hour's sleep, the Hispaniola had begun her voyage to the Island of Treasure. I am not going to tell you every detail of the voyage. The ship proved to be a good ship. The crew were experienced sailors, and the captain certainly knew what he was doing. But by the time we arrived at Treasure Island, 2 or 3 things had happened which I should tell you about. First, Mr. Arrow was worse than the captain had feared. He had no control over the crew, and people did what they liked. Then, after a day or 2 at the sea, he began to act like a man who was drunk again and again. He was sent below deck because he could not walk properly, but no one knew where he could be getting the drink. No one was very surprised or sad. Therefore, when one dark, stormy night he disappeared and was not seen again, "He must have been fallen over the side of the ship," said the captain. During the voyage, I got to know Long John Silver and see him at work. Although he only had 1 leg, he moved about on board with amazing ease. The crew did what he told them to do and seemed to like him. He was friendly to everyone and was always glad to see me in the galley, which he kept very clean. "Hawkins, come and have a chat with John," he used to say. "Here's Captain Flint, named after the famous parrot," and he pointed to the parrot he kept in a cage in the corner of the galley, and the parrot used to say again and again, "Pieces of 8, pieces of 8,
Pieces of 8! Pieces of 8!
until John threw a cloth over the cage. It's been everywhere, that old parrot. It says "pieces of 8" because it was there when the ships were pulled up from the seabed with 350,000 of those coins on board, explained the cook. Treasure Island, Episode 4, Part 2, What I Heard in the Apple Barrel. Before we arrived at Treasure Island, something happened that dramatically changed what I thought of Long John Silver. On the deck of the ship was a barrel of apples. One evening, when I had finished work, I went up on deck to get an apple. I climbed into the barrel and found that there were hardly any apples left. But sitting down there in the dark, with the gentle movement of the ship, I must have fallen asleep. Suddenly, I woke up as someone sat down heavily against the barrel. Then the man began to speak. It was Silver's voice. Frightened, I sat and listened. "No, Flint was the captain, not I," said Silver. "I looked after the supplies. I lost my leg at the same time that Pew lost his eyes. But later on I saw Flint's ship so heavy with gold, I thought that it would sink. Ah, said another voice, the voice of Dick, the youngest man on board. He was the best of them all, was Flint. Well, I got 2,000 from Flint. That's not bad for a simple sailor, is it? I put it all safe in the bank. It's all about saving. But where are Flint's men now? Most of them are on board this ship, and they're glad to earn a bit of money, said Silver. You see, I save my money where those other gentlemen of fortune spend it on rum and a good time. Then they have to go to sea again when they have nothing left but their shirts. But I'm 50 now, and when I finish this voyage, I will be able to live somewhere for the rest of my life. But you can't go back to Bristol after this, said the other voice. Right, and my wife is getting all my money now. She's sailing the spy class, and she will meet me somewhere away from Bristol when I'm finished, explained Long John. I like my job much better now I've talked with you, said the young man. You're a brave boy and clever too, answered Silver. And I've never seen a better gentleman of fortune. By this time I had begun to understand that when Silver said gentleman of fortune, he meant pirates, and I knew that he had just corrupted one of the honest men on the ship. A few moments later, Silver called another man over the barrel. Dick's with us, said Silver. Oh, I knew he would be, replied the voice of the coxswain, Israel Hands. But when are we going to do something? I want their food and drink, he said. Now, started Long John Silver, Captain Smollett is an excellent sailor, and the doctor and the squire have the map somewhere secret, which means I don't know where it is, do I? So I say that we wait until they have found the treasure, and they have helped us to get it on board. But we are all sailors on board this ship, cried Israel. We don't need Smollett and the others. We can sail the ship, said Silver angrily. But who would know which direction to go? Listen, I know the type of man you are. You are never happy until you are drunk, and then you make mistakes. But I know how to do this, and believe me, if you do it too quickly, then we will hang. All right, but when we do get them, what will we do to them? Asked Dick. We can leave them on the island, or we can kill them. That's what Flint or Billy Bones would have done, said Silver. I say we ought to kill them. We will wait, and then we will do it, said Silver. Now let's have some rum. Dick, said Silver, I will let you get it. Here's the key. Fill up a cup and bring it up. I realized that this must have been how Mr. Arrow had got the drink that killed him. While Dick was gone, I heard Israel speaking quietly to Silver. I heard him say, Not another man of them will join us. I thought there must still be honest men on board. Moments later, the moon started to shine down on me in the barrel, and almost at the same time, a voice shouted, Land ho! Treasure Island, Episode 4, Part 3. I share the bad news. Men came running onto the deck, and I jumped quickly out of the barrel without being seen and joined them at the bow to the southwest where the 3 hills of Treasure Island. I heard Silver tell Captain Smollett that he had stopped in a bay here years before to get supplies and water. Look at this map, said Captain Smollett, and show me the place. Long John's eyes burned in his head as he took the map. However, the map was not the map we had found in Billy Bones' chest. It was a new copy, complete in every detail apart from the red crosses and the written notes. Silver must have been disappointed, but he managed to hide it well. A few moments later, when I was close enough to Dr. Livesey, I quietly told him that I urgently needed to speak to him, the squire and the captain, in the cabin. I explained everything I had heard, All three of them thanked me for my luck and for being brave. Captain, said Squire, you were right, and I was wrong. He now realized the terrible mistakes he had made. I am stupid, he went on, and I put myself under your orders. First, began the captain, we must go on, because we can't turn back. If I told them to turn back, they would attack us immediately. Secondly, we have time at least before we find the treasure. Thirdly, they are honest men. Now, sir, there will be a fight sooner or later, and so I think we should attack them when they least expect it. Can we be sure that the men you brought with you from home are honest, Mr. Trelawney? Yes, as honest as myself, replied the squire. So, that's 3 men, said the captain, and we make 7. Now, which of the other men do you think are honest? Probably the men that Trelawney found before he met Silver, said the doctor. But perhaps not, said the squire. Israel Hans was one of mine, but he's with Silver. Well, said Captain Smollett, we must keep quiet and watch them all. We shouldn't do anything until we know our men. Jim here, said the doctor, can help us more than anyone. The men like him, and he's good at noticing things. I began to feel very worried, since I did not feel that I could help very much. In the end, it was because of me that we were saved. However, at the moment our situation looked very bad. There were only 7 out of the 26 on board who we knew were honest, and of these 7, one was only a boy.